Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to PhotoBiz Live. This is Andy from the PhotoBiz team, and today I will be presenting a webinar about content curation called the 80-20 rule. We will also have a question and answer session at the end of the webinar. You may submit your questions using the chat tool, and they will be answered after the presentation. Please remember, you can always submit your questions during the webinar, and we will keep track of them to answer afterwards. You can also join in the discussion on Twitter by using the hashtag PhotoBizLive. If at any point during today's webinar you have any difficulty hearing the speaker or seeing the slides, please use the comment box to let us know. We will also be recording this webinar, and it will be available for replay on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/photobiz. Okay, let's get started. Today, as the slide title tells you, we're going to be looking at content curation, what is known as the 80-20 rule, how to let other people make social media posts for you. Off the top, I did want to discuss a change that is getting some press, and what we wanted to let you know is there has been an update to the Facebook algorithm. What Facebook has told us is that they are trying to get what they deem as high-quality articles bumped to the top of the timeline. They have specifically said that meme hosting sites will see fewer bumps than what they consider legitimate articles. They're trying to bump higher quality articles and bump fewer meme hosting sites. So what this means is that social media marketing is dead, which is actually not true. However, you will hear that several times. As with anytime something changes online, we always hear that something is dead, whether it's social media marketing, whether it's SEO, it's always dying or dead. So don't worry about it. You know, it's going to affect companies, but the companies that are being affected tend to be multinational, very large companies and not smaller businesses, because smaller businesses already interact directly with their customers and provide use to those customers. So keep tagging your customers, encourage them to comment on your post and to share their photos, and find engaging content to post, and you're going to be just fine, and the algorithm change is not going to affect you, or rather your business. It will affect you if you use Facebook. Okay, so what are we talking about today? Today we're going to be looking at the 80-20 rule, and what that is 80% of the posts should be your work and 20% should be someone else's or curated content. So today we're going to look at what makes up that other 20%. So content curation is actually, it can be a full-time job. There are websites devoted purely to content curation. BuzzFeed and Upworthy are probably the two most well-known. But what it is, it's collecting, filtering, and then presenting the best content about a subject. So we pick a subject, we find content all over the web, and then we present that content in some sort of ordered fashion. There are 5 types of content curation. You, as a small business owner, are not going to be using these a lot. You'll probably be using the first one or the second one primarily. However, knowing what the other 3 are, and in fact what all 5 are, will help you identify good sites to get content from without spending a whole lot of time digging through. So our 5 types are aggregation, distillation, elevation, mashups, and chronology. Okay, so curating, why do we curate content? We curate content because it increases the value of your business page to the consumers. Our audience is going to be mostly photographers, so if you only post pictures of your current clients, other clients find little value in that. You know, they're not as concerned about seeing their neighbors' kids as they are their own. So by posting links to other content, you will generate more interaction on your page, which leads to higher visibility in Facebook. Higher visibility gives you greater reach. Greater reach obviously gives you a better chance to book new customers, which is the goal of social media marketing, obviously, is to either get your current customers back in for another session or to find new customers. Okay, so aggregation is the first type of content curation, and it's probably the simplest method. It is definitely the most common. All aggregation is collecting the content in one area. That's having a forum devoted to a particular topic, having a website where you simply post links about a topic. When you look at aggregators, you want to find places that provide good content but that cite and source their links. So a good aggregator finds quality sources and posts links or embeds the content on their own website. As a business owner, this is less useful for you because in social media circles, it gets very close to spam when you're just providing every link you come across for about a topic. Distillation. Now, the process of distillation is making sense from the noise. It's looking at all of the available content and finding the through thought, the thing that makes all of the content relate together. For this, you're going to look at finding the key aspects of the subject. You know, if we're curating content about the newest camera types, we are looking for a distillation method would be finding the lens that works the best despite the camera type. You know, that's finding the one thread in all of the reviews of all the camera equipment. Now, distillation obviously takes more time than aggregation because first you have to aggregate and then you have to pick out the best. But because you are spending that extra time to pick out the best, you're going to get higher quality output. By doing this, by becoming the person who collects all of the sources and then finds the best ones and shares those, you're going to establish yourself as an authority on the subject, which is very useful. It builds trust in your business, in your page, and it brings people back. Okay, elevation. Elevation is, on the surface, it sounds very similar to distillation, but it's applying an overarching theme to the noise. Now, what we look at here is we're not looking to pick out simply the best quality. We're looking to pick out good quality that also fits the theme that we're applying to the topic. Now, again, it's going to be more time consuming than distillation because we're looking for meaningful insights that other people have not yet discovered. It's very time consuming, but if you're good at this, you can become a star online. You can become the voice that people turn to when they need to know about a subject. Okay, now we move on to mashups. Now these are kind of an internet-based phenomenon. The way I was first introduced to a mashup, and the way many people are video mashups, where you take either two music videos and use some parts of one song mixed with other parts of another song, or you apply the audio of one video to the video of another because the music, you've probably seen the Benny Hill theme, or as it's known, yakety sax, applied to any kind of chase scene. That's a video mashup. So what a mashup is, it's taking multiple types of content and combining them into one theme. Now, this could be, say, an infographic. It can be a video mashup. Sandy Push, one of our clients here, who's very prolific, did a video shoot for a high school where they used Katy Perry's "Roar" and had the entire high school sing along. That is a very light type of mashup. You know, the kids themselves weren't singing; it was purely the audio from the Katy Perry song, but it looked like the kids were singing it, and it made for a very impressive video for this high school. Now, again, we're looking at time consuming because we're going to have to find the different content, and then we're going to have to combine it in a way that makes sense. Now, like I say, this one is one of those where if you find a good mashup site, bookmark it, go back there, find content, share it. I really can't recommend as a business owner you look at doing this unless this is something that you actively enjoy. You know, this is something that if you want to look at mashups, you need to enjoy doing them because they're very hit and miss and they take a lot of time. They're also going to take a fair amount of software to be able to combine things. Anybody can go to youtubedoubler.com. I actually recommend you check that out. It's quite interesting, and mash two videos together. But to do so in a way that is enjoyable, that works, that doesn't grate at your ears is going to take time and practice. Okay, the last one we look at is chronology. Now this is very similar to the way a museum may curate their content. And it's simply we post the content in the order it was created or discovered. The reason I say discovered is if you're curating content about a topic, you may find a viral video that was created 2 years ago, but it was only discovered by the internet 2 months ago. Now, if we're trying to present the order, well, we can say this video was created here, but when it was created didn't really matter. What matters is that 18 months later, someone stumbled upon this video, somebody with a fair amount of influence online, and decided to share it. So that's when it became pertinent to the discussion. Now, the purpose of doing chronological curation is to show the evolution of a topic. To go, to reach in our bag of photography metaphors, it's showing the way from the original camera to a modern DSLR. And the steps, the missteps along the way. Could Kodak have survived better if they had adapted to the changing business model faster? Probably. But that's something that, again, and you'll notice how often I repeat this, doing a chronological curation, people have to care about your thoughts. Everybody can have a blog, and everybody can share their opinion on their blog, but if nobody cares about your opinion, you're standing in a field talking to yourself. It's the same way with curated content. Chronological curation, it can be the easiest type or it can be the hardest type, and often both. Because we're focused on one particular subject, we're not having to scan everything. We're just looking for very specific areas. But finding things that actually show evolution, and it's not just this video was made today, this one was made yesterday, this one was made 2 weeks ago. We actually need to show some change, some growth, some different understanding of the topic as time goes on. This one can also be very difficult to sell outside of a niche market. I'm interested in the way photography grew. You are too. But the 20 people standing at the bus stop, they don't care. And those 20 people standing at the bus stop is a great way to think about your Facebook audience, because they are going to be from most likely a variety of backgrounds with a variety of interests. So how do you actually put any of this to use? What we're going to look at now is what it takes to make good content curation. You want to find 1 to 3 good curation sites. Depending on your audience, you can go with something easy like BuzzFeed, Cracked.com. They're a comedy website. Upworthy, like I mentioned earlier, they're all about positivity and things that surprise you in a good way. These can be things like Petapixel, Mashable. There's a bunch of content curators out there. Just Pinterest to a certain extent. Pinterest is more of an aggregator, which is why it can take a lot of time to find good stuff, but it's there. It can find content for you. Okay, once you've got your 1 to 3 sites and use the bookmark feature, it will make your life so much easier. If you're not familiar, it's usually a star icon in your browser window. But once you've found your websites, what we look for are things that generate high energy emotions. I talk more about high energy emotions in my webinar from earlier this month, where we looked at what makes viral content. I would recommend taking a look at that. In brief, high energy emotions are basically things that make you feel up. So these are going to be things that shock you, things that inspire awe, things that make you angry. Things that you feel yourself becoming more energetic with these emotions. Things that make you sad, things that don't have a resolution, things that leave you unsure or doubtful. These are not links we want to post online because people don't like to share them. People like to share things that make them feel smart, make them feel pretty, make them feel like they're part of an exclusive club, or things that really upset them and have an effect on them. So the links, they should shock you. They should be awesome. In the true definition of that word, they inspire awe in you. As somebody pointed out, there are 2 types of awe that are acceptable online. There's AWE, which is awe, which we are very familiar with, and then there's AWW, awe, and that's cute puppies, cute babies. There is an awe effect that people will share. It does depend on your target audience. If your target audience is senior guys, probably cute puppy pictures, probably not going to be the best thing for you. Now, if you're going for the senior girl market, maybe that's an angle you want to take. Moms and kids love cute things. Okay, so once we found these links, that's what we do. We post them on our social media. Now, part of this is you've got to know your audience. You may know your clients very well. In that case, you've got a leg up. You may not know them very well, but that's okay. There are ways to find out what they enjoy. Part of knowing the audience is knowing what social media outlet you're using at what time. Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Instagram, they're all social media sites, and they all serve a different purpose. Twitter, you're limited to 140 characters. It's very fast. Things don't develop slowly on Twitter, generally. Somebody finds it, somebody picks it up, it trends, and then it dies. Facebook, on the other hand, can be slower. As we've seen with this algorithm update that we discussed earlier, you can have a post that's 20, 30 hours old, and it gets back up to the top of the news feed because it's become popular. It's a topic of discussion. Instagram, purely photos. Again, we're not looking for diatribes on the latest government spending plan. We want photos. We want to see the protest, or we want to see the beautiful flower. Occasionally we want to see what food you're eating, but please don't do that too much because that turns people off very quickly. Once you start trying to do this, pay attention to what your audience is sharing and clicking. Facebook will provide these metrics for you. And you can always look at a post, and there you will see a counter. Has this many likes, this many comments, this many shares. Find the content that people are clicking on, or spend some time trolling their Facebook feeds. See what they're posting. Use those as your topics. One of the nice things about social media, and on this last point, is that you can mess up social media big time. Every year we get stories of people botching their social media. I saw one today. It was a comedian and a robot. Pace Salsa had an automated Twitter account. Basically, they had a bot that anytime somebody mentioned their salsa brand would like that post and retweet it. Well, a comedian made a very unflattering comment and then got into it with an automated bot until somebody stepped in and did it even worse. Now, I can tell you about that one because I read an article about it this morning. Now, in a year's time, if I ask you, in 2013, who botched their social media, you're probably not going to be able to name any names. It happened, but social media happens so rapidly that if you mess up, it's okay. The internet is forever, but it's got a really, really short attention span. So if you post a piece of content and it doesn't get much traffic, don't worry. If you post 7, don't worry. It's okay. You're trying things here. So it can come down to the difference between a successful post and an unsuccessful post is what time of day you put it out there. If your primary audience are working families, mom and dad have a job, but they've also got a newborn, and we want to target them. Well, if you post that at noon when everybody's at work, you're going to get no traction. You post it about 7 or 8 p.m., everybody's home from work, they've had dinner, it's time to sit down now and catch up on the news of the day, then you are going to see them show up on your Facebook page, So it's okay. You're going to have to experiment. If you hit it right on the first try, excellent. If you don't, keep plugging. Okay, now the other thing to bear in mind here is how people consume their content. Now, this is something that a lot of people miss out on. It doesn't occur to them. But different types of content are consumed in different ways. Multimedia, so your videos, your Vines, your Instagram videos, your YouTube, GIFs, anything that moves online. Those are easy to consume and share. It's a 1 and 30-second video. Yeah, I can spend 1 minute and 30 seconds watching that. Share this GIF? Okay, I can click share. No problem. It's very easy, very fast, but it's very hit and miss. If you devote 5-6 hours to creating a video and you miss, well, that's, it's 5 or 6 hours down the tubes. But when it hits, and then you don't, you've spent 5 or 6 hours and you've gotten 5 days worth of greater visibility on Facebook, well, that was worth it. When we move to text, it inverts, actually. Multimedia content, short and sweet is the goal, unless you've got a message that you're pushing. When we look at text, articles, blog posts, especially things that are edgy, and I'm making air quotes with my fingers and you can't see me, but I hope it's carrying through, the longer the text is, the more likely it is to be consumed and shared. And the reason behind this is when it's a controversial topic, people don't want to share a 200-word overview of their stance. They want to share an article that goes in depth about why they feel the way they do or why this is a good idea. So that's what you want to bear in mind. Faster is not always better, but there are very few hard and fast rules to what will work with curated content. Religion and politics tend to be things we avoid because they are very polarizing. However, in your area, you may live in an area that is very homogenous in terms of their political leanings. So you can safely post political topics, but it's always a question of, am I going to upset someone? Now, like I say, don't be afraid to try it. If you pick a controversial topic, expect, be prepared for some backlash. But, while we're on that topic, just remember, positivity wins out in the end on social media. If you have an angry customer, if a post you have upsets someone, don't just delete it and hide it. Reply to it. Acknowledge it. Okay, I'm sorry I upset you. I'd like to discuss this. Or, I'm very sorry that you feel that way, but this is something I am very strongly behind. And while I value you, I do want to make my feelings known. Or, I'm sorry I offended you. I'll go ahead and take this down, and I have learned from this. Again, I can't give you great generalizations because there are just so many angles we can look at. Okay, so let's just recap one more time. Pick your topic. Find 1 to 3 reliable sources of content, preferably somebody that's done the aggregation, maybe even the distillation for you. Look for content that provokes a response, happy, angry, something that gets you clicking that button. Failure happens. You're going to fail. Everybody does. I can't think of anybody on social media that's 100% gold every time. When you fail, try another angle. See how far back up we have to go. Maybe you are all the way back to 1. Maybe your topic was just poorly chosen. It didn't sell. It didn't sell in Milwaukee. So start back from the top. Maybe you had a good topic, but your sources were lacking. Try it again. Find new sites. Find better articles. If you didn't get the response you wanted, well, you can take that and figure out why it happened. Did I read the attitude wrong? Are people less concerned about this than I am? Or did I put my foot into very deep water that people are very strongly feel about this topic, and I'm not so sure, so I can't say anything. And then if you fail again, don't give up. Try it again and again until it works. All right, so now we're on to the Q&A. Okay, well, in that case, we're going to wrap everything up today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Just a reminder, a recording of today's webinar will be posted on the PhotoBiz YouTube channel at youtube.com/PhotoBiz. Also, be sure to check out our blog and watch your email for updates about future webinars. This is the last webinar for this year, 2013, but our next webinar will be on Google Tools, Part 1 with Lou Everling, Tuesday, January 7th. That concludes today's episode of PhotoBiz Live. Have a great day, everyone.